The honourable member for Carbonear-Harbour Grace.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is a tremendous honour to take my place in this House of Assembly as the member for the great district of Carbonear-Harbour Grace. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to the honourable members of this House and address the constituents who, through their efforts, have brought me here today. Mr. Speaker, I will take a moment to offer thanks and best wishes to my predecessors, the former members of Carbonear-Harbour Grace, Mr. Jerome Kennedy, as well as Mr. Art Reid and Mr. George Feeney. I would also like to acknowledge Mr. George Clark, a native from Crackers Cove, Carbonear, who served in this legislature for 16 years. He was one of the longest-serving speakers of the House, having served in that position for 10 years. Public service is no small feat, and to those who take on these rewarding yet challenging roles should be commended, no matter what political corner they choose to do their jobs. Mr. Speaker, I would like to express my deepest appreciation for the support, kindness and trust shown during my recent election. I thank all those who assisted, have brought me here today, particularly the dedicated campaign team of volunteers, including my family and friends. For the ultimate vote of confidence in my by-election of November 26, 2013, I offer profound thanks to the people of the District of Carbonear-Harbour Grace. Let there be no mistake, their vote created a strong bond between the people of the district and myself, and I intend to honour each and every day while I'm given this duty to represent them in government and in this legislature. Mr. Speaker, the people and the communities of the District of Carbonear-Harbour Grace are very near and dear to my heart and soul. I have served them as a councillor, deputy mayor, and the mayor of the community of Carbonear for many years, and I intend, with the best of my intentions and goodwill, to serve their purpose and their platform, the people's purpose and platform, hopefully for many years to come. The District of Carbonear-Harbour Grace is a mixture of towns, communities and bays that are bound together by many shared links, issues and values. Our past reaches back some 500 years when our island was known as the land of fish and cod was truly king and even currency. Our region has thriving fishing communities even before settlements and liveers set up full-time residents. Our rich story includes the legacy of sailors and pirates like Peter Easton and the Irish princess he allegedly rescued by the name of Sheila Noguera. Since then, we have had many other brave daredevils and pioneers, some infamous, some not recognized, and some very famous, like Amelia Earhart, an American aviator pioneer who, as many of you will know, was the first female pilot to fly solo across the North Atlantic. In the district, we have bore witness to colonies being established, wars up on our shores, international ports of trade created, violent political and religious riots taking place, and the Royal Canadian Navy operations carried out. And yet the communities in the District of Carbonear-Harbour Grace are still standing to tell the tale. And what a fantastic tale of history we have for the residents and tourists who visit our communities. In addition to the above historical notables, we have historic places still standing, like the Harbour Grace Courthouse, which was constructed in 1830. Three of the oldest stone churches in the province is also in our district: St. Paul's Anglican Church and the Immaculate Conception in Harbour Grace, and St. Patrick's in Carbonear. And we have the historic Mosquito Wooden Schoolhouse in Bristol's Hope, one of the last of its kind. Historic Carbonear Island serves as a strategic place and a chapter in our provincial history. During the Battle of Carbonear, in which the French led the attack on the community, the residents retreated to the island. They were successful in defending the island from capture. It became known for a time as the Gibraltar of Newfoundland. Centuries later, in 1992 and in 2012, Carbonear hosted summer games. As a result, the district can now boast about rubberized walking tracks, excellent ball fields and tennis courts. There is also an outdoors concert venue known as Paddy's Garden, as well a downtown heritage area. This is not a well-known fact, Mr. Speaker, but there was a prisoner of war camp built during the Second World War in Victoria. It was the only prisoner of war camp built in Newfoundland and Labrador, but it was never occupied because when the United States came into the war, they didn't want prisoners near their bases in the province. Today, a unique early Newfoundland heritage park sits on that same site, completed with a period salt box house, a general store, a period church, a forge, and a water-operated sawmill. Victoria is also home to the second oldest power plant, built in 1904, and, Mr. Speaker, is still operating today as efficiently as it was when it was built. I want to thank my wife, Beverly, my 3 children, and 7 grandchildren, who stood by me and supported me throughout my campaign, and continues that support. I also like to thank my brother and 4 sisters who stood by me. As well, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank my late parents, who taught me the values of life and never failed to miss an opportunity to help and support my fellow citizens, which is the very reason I offer myself for public life and why I am here today. Mr. Speaker, it's been over 3 months since I officially assumed the role of MHA for District Carbonear-Harbour Grace on December 11, 2013. Mr. Speaker, we all come to our seats through different paths, some as lawyers, some as teachers, and many of us from a variety of other lines of work. By trade and through grit, I am a fisherman, Mr. Speaker, a fish harvester, an entrepreneur, as they like to call us now. I'm very proud to call myself one. As we rowed a great and mighty ship called Newfoundland and Labrador, we will each have different lights to guide us. My guiding force will be the people of the district that I have the pleasure to represent. Their issues, their concerns, their worries, their challenges, and most importantly, their solutions, as well as their visions and hope for the future. Mr. Speaker, this is a people's government and a people's house, and we must be vigilant in being responsive to this very simple truth. Mr. Speaker, as I have stated, I have been a municipal leader for over 20 years. During that time, I have become personally familiar with the challenges facing municipalities, as I have seen it firsthand, and the difficulties and joys of running a community. I want to continue to fight for infrastructure, such as clean and safe drinking water, proper water and sewer, as well as safe highways and roads. Mr. Speaker, I will also press for better education and facilities, including post-secondary education, as well as shorter wait times and more efficient delivery in our healthcare system. Mr. Speaker, I remain firm in my deep belief in both rural Newfoundland and Labrador and in the fishery. As a fisherman and a vessel owners, there are many rough waters to navigate. I still stand ready to fight tooth and nail for our small rural communities. This can only occur if we are vigilant, if we have enough people fighting the good fight, if we have leaders who control our resources, willing to listen and be committed. We cannot allow greed to govern how we harvest our resources. It must be done for the benefit of all and not just a few. It must be done sustainably, sensibly, and it must be done in collaboration with all stakeholders. And, Mr. Speaker, I am a firm believer in joint management of our fisheries with all stakeholders, and especially with the federal government. As a province, we have been seeking joint management since Newfoundland joined Confederation 65 years ago. Now is the time to have that conversation again. But we must make this a means to an end to finally get the respect that we all deserve when it comes to our fishery resources. Incredibly, our fishery is managed by people thousands of miles away, people who may not be familiar with our fishing communities, people who have not walked on our wharves, or even had a regular conversation with our fishermen. As well-intentioned as they may be, these people cannot do the job. Let us draw ourselves a map of a path we wish to travel. It must begin now, it must be a priority, and it must begin with us. Effective management of our fisheries resource should be left in the hands of those who are most familiar with the daily operations and what the fishery really means to the people on the front lines. While there may be a collaborative role for our federal counterparts, the reality is that, and the real answer needs to come from those who are closest to the resource. Joint management of fisheries and aquaculture is a key to ensuring longevity and future growth. Mr. Speaker, I may be only in this role officially for 4 months. I have been familiar with the issues affecting the district of Carbonear-Harbour Grace my entire life. Carbonear is my home, and for the past 20 years I have taken every phone call, read every letter, and spoke to as many people as I can in the region on what bothers them. This is a flourishing and successful region. For everything that represents a challenge, there's also many things that can speak of success of a district. Mr. Speaker, the district boasts excuse me. Mr. Speaker, the district boasts a modern regional hospital, long-term health care facilities, modern schools, modern shopping facilities, great recreational and sporting facilities such as the swimming pool in Carbonear and the stadium in Harbour Grace. This area is commonly referred to as the hub of the bay. In Harbour Grace is a plane called the Spirit of Harbour Grace. This tourist attraction stands in recognition of contribution of town to early flight. But I think it also could very well symbolize the tremendous spirit of bravery and endurance that's not just within the people and the communities, bays and inlets of the district of Carbonear-Harbour Grace, but in the whole of the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. I am humbled today that those same people have put their faith into me in conveying the spirit and the wishes of the people in the district of Carbonear-Harbour Grace. This is a commitment I promise to keep, a pledge that I make today to those who elected me and to all people of the province. Mr. Speaker, I am known among many infamous deeds as being the last person to lock the doors of the Carbonear train station when it went out of service. One thing I can promise you, I won't be locking any doors on democracy or on my constituents. Their needs are my deeds. I intend to be a part of a team that reopens a new way forward to our province. Mr. Speaker, achievement is only possible where there is action. We have to be agents of change that we would like to see in our districts, our province, our country, and indeed this world. That is why I am here in the People's House. I have pledged to the people of the district of Carbonear-Harbour Grace that there will be change in how we are represented. I do not take their support for granted. They have given me their confidence, and I respectfully seek to deliver on everything I have committed to. Mr. Speaker, as every member in this House today can attest, we are all given a great privilege of standing in this legislature to reach each and every resident of our province. As Newfoundlander and Labradorians, we are strong, confident and fearless people. It is my honour to be entrusted with the concerns and triumphs of residents in the district of Carbonear-Harbour Grace. It is a responsibility I do not take lightly. I want to light some fires to start change in my district, in the fishery and in the province as a whole, because as Martin Luther King Jr. once said, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the privilege of addressing this House today. I look forward in the years ahead as we work together for the people who have put faith and trust into us. Indeed, I dedicate this speech to the warm and wonderful people in the district of Carbonear-Harbour Grace. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.